Oh, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Hope you're doing well. The purpose of this video is to just give you a little talk through on the Chromatography Lab. So hopefully by this point you have completed the first part of it where you've watched the short video kind of demonstrating chromatography and how it works. And you can see that some substances are going to migrate farther than others based on their polarity. So in other words, whether or not they have a charge. And what I want to do in this video is just give you a little bit of help with the second part, which is using kind of this virtual lab. So as we go back and look at our lab here, the first two questions, question 1 and 2, they are answered in our intro here, where what a thin layer chromatography plate is a plastic sheet that's been covered with a thin layer of silica gel. And what we do it for, or why we use it to separate compounds, it's all about the effect of polarity and how we can use that to separate a compound. So let's click Start. And here we go, just kind of some instructions here. So the Start button, that lets us start the experiment. And then for chamber 1 and chamber 2, we have our solvent slider, which I'll talk about. Notice for each of them, we're starting with a 50-50 mix. 50% hexane, 50% ethanol in both of our chambers. Something else to keep in mind is that we're dealing with the same mixture in each. The reason we have chamber 1 and chamber 2 is for us to be able to change the solvent. Okay, so clicking back to our directions. First thing that we want to do is click Start. So first thing that we do is click Start there. And you'll notice our solvent is running up the plate. And look, our compound is separating based on polarity. Our blue dot represents the portion of the mixture that's less polar. Red represents the more polar mixture. And again, we're just going to let our solvent run all the way up the plate to get better separation. And it's running, and it's running, and it's running. And we stop before the solvent runs off the edge. And at this point, we would, read through this to help us answer some questions. So again, clicking back to the directions, we'd want to read through that to maybe help answer some of these questions. And then what we want to do is click Continue. So we click Continue, it resets it, but before we do, notice our directions told us to change, that we want, clicking back to our directions, chamber 1 to be 100% hexane. So this is chamber number 1. We slide our slider all the way to the left, and notice it's 100% hexane. For chamber 2, it tells us we want 100% ethyl acetate. We slide it to the right. Notice solvent number 2 is now 100% ethyl acetate. So now in chamber 1, we have a very nonpolar, we have a very less polar solvent. Chamber 2, we have more polar solvent. And clicking back on our directions, we want to click Start and watch what happens. And then we'd want to do it one more time where, again, notice our percentages for how we would adjust those sliders. And we're just going to let this one kind of get started here. You'll see the results will be different because we're using solvents of different polarities. And again, a little hint here, I would definitely use the results that pop up as a way to help you answer those conclusion questions. Good luck. As always, feel free to email your forensics teacher should you have any questions. Oh, look, it's done. And look, a lot of help there. And good luck.